Good morning, everybody. My name is Jovita Dominguez, Chair of the Education Licensing Committee. I was appointed by Governor Newsom. Lor- um, Also, Reza, our legal counsel, is joining us, and Lori, our um, our director.
Good
Also,
morning.
good morning. And then Dolores, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Dolores Trujillo, and I was appointed by Governor Newsom in the direct care provider role, and I am currently the president of the Board of Registered Nursing.
And I believe Trisha's also on board.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Tricia Nguyen. I was appointed by Governor Newsom in the public member role. Thank you.
Thank you. And I believe that Marianne is also joining us, Dr. Marianne McCarthy.
Can you ensure that she's elevated, please, board moderator? Perfect, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. This is Mary Ann McCarthy. I am a supervising nursing education consultant and the liaison to the Education Licensing Committee.
Thank you. Good morning. And also, I'd like to give thanks to our BRN moderator who works real hard with us.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. I believe that we start with 8.2, which is the review and vote of the approved previous minutes.
We're actually going to start with 8.1, Jovita.
Sorry.
It's on your screen if you're able to see it. If not, you can put the agenda as on
yeah,
website.
Sorry. I'm using two systems. Let's see, just making it bigger. So, yes, the public comment. I'm sorry, I forgot. Public comment for any items on the agenda. Is there anybody that is awaiting? We are in moderator.
We'll have Mark open it up. So he'll set the stage and give his little spiel, and we'll get this going for you, Jovita.
Thank you, Lori.
Good morning. This is the BRN moderator. I will be moderating the meeting. To facilitate public comment, we will be utilizing the WebEx question and answer feature. When the board or committee reaches a point in the agenda at which public comment is appropriate, the question and answer feature will be turned on, and members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by inserting the phrase, "I would like to make a comment," in the question box, which is typically in the lower right of your screen. I will then call on the individual and unmute their microphone. The individual will have 2 minutes to make their comments. I will not give a warning as your time approaches. I will mute your microphone and will announce that your time has exceeded the time allotted. I will then proceed to the next member of the public who has a comment. Please note that the question and answer feature is being used only as a means for members of the public to represent that they would like to make a verbal comment. When your turn comes, you will be prompted to unmute. If your question can be answered by the committee, the committee will respond accordingly. When making your comment, speak about anything you believe is important to for the members to know. Remember, committee members cannot address any item not on the agenda. Items not on the agenda at the moment, items that you would like to be added to future meetings. Sorry, the lights went out here. Hold on. Or items that will be discussed later on in the agenda will be discussed at their correct times during the meeting. I will provide a brief reminder of this approach at the start of each public comment item. Finally, when committee members or board BRN staff are not speaking, I would like to remind them to mute their microphone. If I detect background noise during the meeting as a result of unmuted microphones, I will mute your microphone for you. Thank you. We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, I would like to make a comment. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you. So then we will be going to 8.2, review of the whether we want to approve the previous minutes. Does any of the board members have any questions or statements?
I don't have any.
I would like to make a motion to accept the ELC meeting minutes for June 29, 2023, and allow BRN staff to make non-substantial changes to the correct name, misspellings, and/or typos that may have been discovered in this document. Do I have a second?
I will
I'll
second it.
Thank you, Dolores. Then motion carries and we move on to 8.3.
Sorry, Jovita, this is
Yes. Hi, Reza.
Reza. Hi. Even though it's the minutes, we should take a quick check on public comment on it.
Oh, thank you. And then we will vote. Thank you. BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, I would like to make a comment. Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, I would like to make a comment. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you. So I'd like to take it for a vote. I, Jovita Dominguez, on 8.2, vote yes.
Dolores Trujillo votes yes on 8.2.
Thank you.
And Tricia Wynn votes yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. So I believe that Dr. Marianne McCarthy is going to lead us from 8.3. Am I correct on that?
Yes, thank you, Jovita.
No, thank
Agenda
you.
item 8.3, discussion and possible action regarding whether to recommend ratification of minor curriculum revisions, acknowledge receipt of program progress reports, and recommend ratification of clinical facility approval or other action. According to board policy, nursing education consultants may approve minor curriculum changes that do not significantly alter the philosophy, objectives, or content. Approvals must be reported to the Education Licensing Committee and to the board. Minor curriculum revisions may include the following: curriculum changes, work study programs, preceptor programs, public health certificate programs, and a list of schools that have submitted minor revisions, clinical or facility agency approvals, and program progress reports that have been reviewed and approved by the nursing education consultants are in your materials as tables named the same. This is a consent agenda item. Thank you.
Committee members, any questions or concerns?
No, I don't have any.
Okay, thank you, committee member Tricia. Dolores?
No, I don't have any, so we could probably move out to public comment.
Thank you. Should we make a motion first?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Motion to recommend ratification of minor curriculum revisions, clinical agency or facility approvals, and acknowledge receipt of program progress reports. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Is that Trisha?
Trisha, yes.
Thank you, committee member Trisha. Then let's take it, if BRN moderator would take us to public comment.
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Holly Smith would like to make a comment. 1 second, please.
Hello there, this is Holly Smith. I'm the Health Policy Chair of the California Nurse Midwives Association, and this is in regards to the UCSF curriculum changing to the DNP as the entry-level degree for the nurse midwifery track. So first of all, the Nurse Midwives Association, we support the creation of a DNP program option as a matter of choice. However, as the Professional Association for Nurse Midwives, we have some significant concerns, and we believe that UCSF should still offer a master's level program. As we all know, we have a workforce crisis in maternity care in the state and in the nation. And considering the move to a DNP will not improve safety or quality of care for those entry-level students, this will be more expensive, take longer time to complete, and studies show that this will disproportionately affect students of lower socioeconomic status, likely students of color, and those in low-resource geographic areas, which midwifery schools are trying to recruit so that those midwives go back and practice in those areas. So we believe that without a master's entry-level degree, this will have a real negative impact on the maternity workforce. So our question to this committee is whether or not it is in the purview of this committee to advise UCSF to retain the master's level entry degree alongside the new DNP program. Or whether or not there is some potential for this committee to do a workforce study or some such thing on how this could potentially negatively affect the workforce in the future. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. And then to give you a quick response to that is the BRN does not dictate what degrees are offered at any of the academic institutions that we work with. That is specifically decided upon at the school themselves, and they give us a request to evaluate whether or not it's plausible. When you're looking specifically at the nurse midwife, it's an additional layer that I want to make sure that our board members as well as the public understand is that we do not have any authority to approve these programs at this particular point. It is a sorry, my coffee has not even hit yet. It is voluntary of any of the nurse midwife programs. They can reach out to us. They can ask us to review them to see that it meets the BRN standards. And then we will do a courtesy review that says, yes, your program meets our standards for licensure. Again, that is not a degree requirement, and it is not required for any of our programs. And so when it comes to workforce, though, we do have a separate business professions code under 2717, and we can look into whether or not that's something that we can look at with workforce, and if there's any effect with that. We can also bring that to the NEWAC committee that has a subcommittee that's focused on workforce as well, and we can bring that up there. there is also a nurse midwife advisory committee that we can bring up this conversation with as well. So we can get some input for you if that's something that you choose, if that's something that our board wants us to move forward with.
Thank you, Lori, for that.
Thank you for your comment. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no other public requests for comments. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. I, Jovita Dominguez, would like to vote yes. Committee member Dolores Trujillo.
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Committee member Trisha Wynn.
Wynn votes yes. Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you. Motion carries. That leads us to 8.4.
Thank you. Agenda item 8.4, discussion and possible action regarding whether to recommend approval, acceptance, or other action for approved nursing programs. There's 4 sections under this consent agenda item. 1 is continuing approval of pre-licensure nursing programs. Number 2 is pre-licensure nursing programs that have unit adjustments or other changes. And the 3rd one is discussion and possible action on whether to recommend approval experience required for nurse practitioners enrolled in non-California based nurse practitioner programs. So in these 3 areas, the BRN staff have received and reviewed all documentation from the programs listed, and information on these requests is on your list provided in your materials packet. These programs have met all board rules and regulations listed in regards to their request and are consent agenda items. Thank you.
May I ask a question, please?
Of course.
Yeah, thanks, Marianne. Could you just for my own education, could you explain to me why the California BRN would be looking at non-California programs for clinical requirements?
Yes, I can. There's out-of-state programs that offer NP programs that, and we now have regulation to support our review of NP programs. And these programs have the students in these programs that are asking to do their practicum or their clinical experience in California. Okay. So they're doing their everything else online and they want to do their clinical or practicum experience here. So, and they don't have to be online. They could be in person in another state, but they want to do their practicum here. And so we have a process set up where the schools submit information simply for us to make sure that they're meeting all the rules and regulations related to NP practice in California so that these students can do their practicum here. We are not approving the program itself, just the approval of these programs so their students can do clinical here.
Thank
Lori,
you.
did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I can add to that. So just for reference for everybody on the call, it is 16 CCR 1486 that establishes the requirements for clinical practice experiences for NP students enrolled in non-California based NP education programs. That became a practice that we implemented in fall of 2020 with the first program being presented at the Nurse Practice Committee and then was ratified by full board. What the public protection issue is with this one is we have an established education criteria set forth in 1484. Our employers, our clinical partners expect everybody to be prepared similarly so that when they are providing any kind of guidance, mentoring, et cetera, for the clinical practice, they know that they have a similar baseline. And so what this regulation allows us to do is to ensure that the nurse practitioner programs that are approved out of state still meet our requirements set forth in 1484. Additionally, these NP students that are doing their clinicals in California attached, through a out-of-state nurse practitioner program must have a current California RN license And that is how they are able to even participate in any type of clinical work here, is that they are currently licensed as an RN and they are under the direction of a clinical faculty or a preceptor faculty member who is also California licensed and oversees the practice that is being done as part of the clinical work.
Does that help, Tricia?
Thank you. Yeah, that helps so much. Thank you very much.
No problem.
So Lori, if you can clarify, these schools, they go into a partnership with the hospitals that they're doing the clinical practice experience with?
Either hospitals, physician's office, other NP offices, anything that they're doing their preceptorship or practicum through, they do have to have contracts, et cetera, set up with them. And then they do provide the oversight as well for that. And everybody that is involved in that process must be licensed in California in order for this to be complete. They keep records. They're available upon any kind of request that we have to review those records. There's also a section on our website, and I'll share that for you guys. Give me 1 second to pull it up. We request a screen share here. There we go. Give me 1 second here. So on our website here, you can see this screen. I don't know if it's big enough for everybody. But when you type on out of state, if you just want to do a quick search, it'll pull up a listing here of out of state nurse practitioner programs. It covers the process for approval, and then it does list each one of the NP programs that have been approved through the board. And you will see what tracks they offer, whether it's just adult gero or whether it's the all of them, adult gero, family, neonatal, pediatric, psych. Over to the right is enrollment numbers that have been approved as well. You will notice that there are some of these that are missing the nurse practitioner program track and the annual enrollment. That was through the prior process that was originally implemented in 2020. And we are doing a cleanup process to get those tracks brought forward with the actual enrollment numbers brought forward to our board for reapproval because those were done without that additional information. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys. It has all of the information here, and additionally, it has all of the processes to get that going.
That's very helpful to me. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other committee members have questions or concerns?
Probably go on with the motion.
Oh, thank you. So I'd like to have a motion to recommend continuing approval of pre-licensure nursing programs, pre-licensure nursing programs unit adjustments or other changes, substantive change, enrollment increases, and approval of clinical practice experience required for nurse practitioners enrolled in non-based nurse practitioner education programs. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you.
We're going to go with
Committee member
Tricia. We're going to go with Tricia.
Yes, she got it for a few seconds. BRN moderator, may we take it to public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in the request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you'll have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Maria Gilbert would like to make a comment. 1 second, please. Go ahead. She's going to type her comment in.
And just for reference, she is typing it in because there was some audio issues. She was having some difficulty unmuting. But our preference is to take a public comment, either verbally. Okay, so it says, within the Central Valley, there are already significant challenges with securing NP clinical placements. Correct. That is something that we are hearing. She said we'll go ahead and try to unmute again to give a verbal comment.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
We can, yes.
Oh, thank you. So my name is Marie Gilbert. I'm the director at the Central California Center for Excellence in Nursing. And this center was founded in 2006 to address nursing workforce issues in the region. And as with our pre-licensure nursing programs, our FNP programs in the area already in competition with PA programs for clinical placements. And these are sometimes out of state PA programs. So obviously there is a concern, and understandably, these are California residents with California licenses. So it's meeting a need for our region for nurse practitioners, but we already have students enrolled in local programs that are struggling to find clinical sites. So thank you for the opportunity to make the comment.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. I do want to make just one clarification on there. Physician assistant programs are not under the BRN, so that is causing an impaction. There is a difficulty competing for clinical placements with other professional programs, and we are starting to hear about that, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no other public requests for comment. Would you like me to close this window?
Thank you. Yes. So Jovita Dominguez votes yes. Committee member Dolores Trujillo.
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Committee member Trisha Nguyen.
Nguyen, yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item 8.5.1. Discussion and possible action regarding whether to recommend continuing approval or other action for approved nursing programs who are currently on deferred status. The first program is City College of San Francisco Associate Degree Nursing Program. The information on this program can be found starting on page 48 in packet 1. There's 2 separate packets this time, so it's in packet 1. Board moderator, would you please elevate the presenters on the list for City College of San Francisco? So City College of San Francisco had a regularly scheduled continuing approval visit in April of 22 with 2 areas of non-compliances related to resources. In August of 22, the board placed the program on deferred decision status, and the program has now come into compliance with all board rules and regulations, and they are back today requesting continuing approval. The agenda item summary and the program summary on pages 48 and 49 include more details. The representatives are here and available should you have questions. Thank you.
And just for additional clarification, this school and the schools subsequent under the 8.5 agenda item were schools that the NEC noticed that they were in non-compliance in one or more areas during their continuing approval visit, and those areas of non-compliance were not able to be cleared prior to being presented to the board. So the board at that point, when hearing them for the first time, decided to defer taking any action to allow them to come into compliance. And typically, and you guys will see this later on in the agenda today, what typically occurs is the board defers taking any action on the continuing approval, but then will take an action that has them come back in a year or when non-compliance areas are cleared up, and sometimes requires progress reports to be sent to their NEC. So these schools now are in compliance and can receive a continuing approval from our board.
Jovita, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I would. I'd like to motion to recommend continuing approval of City College of San Francisco Associate Degree Nursing Program. Do I have a second?
I'll second. Wynn will second.
Thank you, committee.
I'd like to make a comment also, if it's appropriate at this time before we go to public comment.
Sure.
Yes.
That is just, I mean, it's always really great to see a program like this that, you know, is struggling and is given clear direction from the board and of course from our NECs, and, you know, to see it really kind of turn itself around. And so I'm just absolutely delighted that City College of San Francisco, you know, is well on its way to, you know, continuing to provide, you know, great education in the associate degree nursing program.
Thank you, Tricia.
Thank you, Tricia. Well said. BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in the request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comment. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. Committee member Dolores Trujillo.
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Committee member Tricia Wynn.
Wynn, yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Agenda item 8.5.2, discussion and possible action regarding whether to recommend continuing approval or other action for an approved nursing program on deferred status. This is Gurnick Academy of Medical Arts, Fresno, Associate Degree Nursing Program. The information on this program can be found starting on page 51 of Packet 1. And Board Moderator, would you please elevate the presenters on the list for Gurnick? Gurnick's first continuing approval visit was completed in February of 2023, with the program having 2 consecutive years of annual NCLEX pass rates of less than 75. As of June, the program received an annual pass rate of 77.78. They did put together a plan and have implemented it, and Gurnick is now in compliance with all board rules and regulations. And they're here also to request continuing approval. The agenda item summary on page 51 includes more detail. And of course, the program's here should you have any questions. Thank you.
Any committee members, do you have questions?
Would you like to make a motion?
I would, thank you. Motion to recommend continuing approval of Gurnick Academy of Medical Arts Fresno Associate Degree Nursing Program. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Thank you, committee member Dolores. BRN moderator, may we go to public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please, thank you. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. Committee member Dolores Trujillo,
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
committee member Trisha Wynn,
Win, yes.
motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Agenda item 8.5.3, discussion and possible action regarding whether to recommend continuing approval or other action for an approved nursing program that has been on deferred action status. This is Rio Hondo College Associate Degree Nursing Program, and their information is starting on page 58 of packet 1. Board moderator, would you please elevate the presenters on the list for Rio Hondo? Rio Hondo had a regularly scheduled continuing approval visit in December of 22 and was found to be in noncompliance in 5 areas. In May of 23, they returned to the board with 1 remaining noncompliance related to faculty. All faculty, there was a faculty hiring plan, and all faculty have now been hired, and Rio Hondo is now in full compliance with all BRN rules and regulations. They are here also requesting continuing approval. The program representatives are here if you have questions. Thank you.
I have a question on this one.
Sure.
It does seem like a high attrition rate.
Yes.
I'm wondering how you explain that and what we might, how that affects your evaluation, Marianne. Of course, I'm very happy if you want to defer to the administrators of the program.
It looks like, I'm not sure Catherine Brandt is here. However, I will ask my NEC, Donna Ship, who is their NEC, to see if she has any insight on that as we the moderator is looking to see if Catherine is joining. Donna, do you have anything to share about attrition?
Hi, good morning. Not off the top of my head with this program, I don't think it was an issue. Usually when we see numbers this high, we have a discussion. I can't recall what our discussion was at that time. And this is 21, 22. I don't recall off the top of my head what they've got for what was reported for this last academic year. But yeah, Catherine Brandt was supposed to be on the call. Were they able to find her in the audience?
They haven't found her yet, so I'm thinking she's not here.
Yeah, I don't have anything.
And we'll let Lori speak to attrition in general.
So I can speak to attrition in general, not specific to the schools, but the BRN looks at attrition separate from the way that the federal government does. So Title IV funding looks at attrition at time and a half. So if you've got a 2-year program, when you're looking at Schedule IV funding and you're looking at time and a half, that is 3 years allowed to complete that program. And so you'll see attrition numbers typically reported out that are much lower. The BRN looks at attrition numbers for 100% on-time completion. So if it is a 2-year program, we want to see students A, B, and C complete in exactly 2 years, the same students, A, B, and C, and not students that come in to fill a spot. And so what sometimes occurs is you'll have an enrollment of 50 students and 50 students graduate, but it's 40 students of the original enrollment and 10 return from medical leave or a leave of absence or something that then comes in. And so the BRN does not look at numbers. They look at actual completion of individual students that started, and it's 100% completion versus time and a half. So you will see that sometimes the attrition numbers will be a little bit higher than what you would see reported on a federal Title IV reporting. What this works with our program review is there are some occasions that there have been schools noted that have a high attrition rate and a high NCLEX pass rates. And that is because school students are not being supported, they're failing out, and the NCLEX pass rate stays high. What we want to see is a high NCLEX pass rate and a low attrition rate. That ensures through that process that students are being supported, that they're getting a lot of the resources, that your admission criteria is standing up. Some of the ways that people look at program attrition rates is when they're doing their faculty meetings and curriculum reviews. And that's another thing that we work with our schools with. And so there is a process called Mountain Measures that schools typically pay into. It is a service that is provided to them that lets them know what is going on with their NCLEX pass rates and what areas are good that they're teaching and they're covering well, and what areas need improvement. And so those schools will take that information back. They'll break it down by quarter or semester to semester, find out where those improvements are. They work on the attrition rate at those individual semester or quarter levels, and then that affects obviously the overall program level. There is a lot of data out there that talks about attrition and talks about that. That is not something that we have jurisdiction over, where we can set a limit that says you must stay under this amount for attrition rate, but we do take that into consideration as risk factors and evaluation, and it is something that we can take into consideration at the BRN, but we don't set a minimum for it or a maximum for it. I know working with the California Chancellor's Office this year, they were looking at any schools that had a greater attrition rate than, I believe, 13 was something that they had identified as an area of concern, and they were working with their schools that fell outside of that.
Does
Thank
that
you.
help,
That's
Tricia?
very helpful. Yes, very helpful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I would. Thank you. Motion to recommend continuing approval of Rio Hondo College Associate Degree in Nursing Program. Do I have a second?
Wynn seconds.
Thank you, Committee Member Tricia Wynn. BRN moderator, may we go to public comment, please?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. Committee Member Dolores Trujillo?
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Thank you. Committee Member Tricia Wynn?
Wynn, yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Before we go on, can I request a 5-minute bio break?
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you. So 9:50, come back at 9:50.
Sounds great.
Is that okay with everyone? All right, thank you.
Yes, please.
Yeah, yes. Thanks.
Thank you.
I, Jovita, am present. Committee member Dolores Trujillo.
Dolores Trujillo is present.
Committee member Tricia Nguyen.
Tricia Nguyen, present.
And make sure you
Marcy
ask
is
about Reza and
on.
Lori.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I actually did remember.
Oh,
And
awesome.
Reza, I believe I heard your voice.
Yes. This is
And then
Reza.
Lori Melby.
I'm present as well.
Thank you so much. Then I believe we are on 8.6.
Thank you so much. Agenda item 8.6. Discussion and possible action regarding whether to recommend continuing approval or other action for approved nursing programs with NCLEX pass rates of less than 75 for two consecutive years. Okay, so the first program is Cabrillo College Associate Degree Nursing Program, and their information is starting on page 62 of Packet 1. Board Moderator, if you could please elevate the presenters on the list for Cabrillo. An initial approval visit, or no, I'm sorry, not an initial, just an approval visit was conducted for Cabrillo College in March of 23 in response to the program having 2 consecutive years of the annual NCLEX rate of less than 75. The program submitted a progress report outlining corrective action taken to achieve and maintain an above 75 pass rate. The 22-23 program NCLEX pass rate is now 93.94, placing this program in compliance with all rules and regulations. The agenda item summary on page 62 includes details. This program is in compliance with all other areas. This was the only area, and now they are in compliance. Representatives are here if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And then I'll just step in here and do just a little additional explanation as well. So 16 CCR 1431 is our regulatory authority to look at licensing examination pass rate standards. It does set a process for the first time a school's annual pass rate drops below 75%. And then it sets a process in place for the second consecutive year that an NCLEX pass rate drops below 75%. So this is the process that these schools are brought forth and evaluated. So once they come above 75%, either at the 1-year mark or the 2-year mark, depending on the action set in place, they can receive a continuing approval vote from our board. One of the other things that I just wanted to place on the out here for you guys to take consideration of is this is a minimum that is required. It is not something that we only look at when it drops below 75%. Our NECs work with our programs continually. If they start to notice trends where someone drops from 100% down to 80%, even though it's still above 75% pass rate, that's a 20% decline in NCLEX overall pass rate. And so that's something that would be of concern, that our NEC would make a reach out to our programs and they would start to develop a plan and have conversations. The goal is to have them stay in compliance versus having them drop below compliance. And that is where our NECs will step in and do some work. So just wanted to let you guys know kind of the processes around NCLEX pass rates and considerations of such.
Thank you, Lori. So they've been in compliance for the last 2 semesters or the last 2 quarters?
We do it by years, so they're in compliance for the year, the NCLEX year.
Yeah, our board does not take into consideration quarterly reports. They take into consideration an annual report. Again, our NECs are aware of the quarterly reports and they do work with the individual school on that, and they do utilize the quarterly reports to track progress in bringing them back into compliance or improving the NCLEX pass rates. But our regulatory authority, when looking at less than 75 as our minimum, is strictly regarding an annual pass rate.
Okay.
I read the letter from Jennifer Holm, and I was wondering if she was on the call.
She is.
On the WebEx. The question is, it seems from this past year, 93.94% and 64.79%. May I ask the difference? Like what drove it to be definitely above 75% from the previous year that was the lowest out of the three?
We had
Hard work.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, we had identified that a big risk factor was a previous version of how we did our admission process, and that had led to a wait list that was pretty extensive, and some of our students were on that wait list for 8 years. And that set them up for a really long period in between their prerequisites and into our program, and that set them up for higher risk. Those students were also more vulnerable to the effects of the pandemic, you know, with not having as much opportunity in the clinical setting to integrate, you know, their thinking skills and clinical reasoning. And we just saw that had a profound impact. We had also had a higher proportion of our waitlist students during the pandemic. So we saw a higher proportion of those who were at risk for not passing, you know, in a smaller group. So each student that didn't was a higher percentage. And we also looked at some of our predicting factors, you know, so like HESI testing and things like that, and looked at how we could support our students from the beginning and created a much more robust student success program.
Hard work. Thank you for the explanation.
You're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.
This is Tricia. I want to thank you too. I mean, it's quite impressive, and I appreciate very much your explanation, because, you know, how do you bring it from such a low number to such a high number? And it sounds like just hard work. So congratulations for that. You're my neighbor. I live a mile from you. So I'm always keeping an eye on Cabrillo College. And I really want to congratulate you for, you know, turning this thing around.
Well, thank you. It was a joint effort with the students. They put a lot of work into it as well, the faculty, and then our college was very supportive in what we needed to continue to be successful.
So Lori, would it be possible?
Compliance. And so, sorry, was that your question about the motion?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that they're in compliance.
Yeah. Sorry.
So with them being in compliance, would quarterly reports of them staying in compliance be advisable, or?
So what the board can do with this is give them a continuing approval vote. You could, because this is the first year back above, still require the program to give some quarterly reports to the NEC. However, that may not be necessary, because that's a process that's
our job
for NECs to do. And so you could, if you wanted to go on record with that, and then we would ensure that it's there, and we would ensure that it's brought in front of the board. But that is part of the role of our NEC, whether or not that's a motion from our board or not.
I think they've done a wonderful job, and I'm in favor of continuing approval. So I can go ahead and make the motion. I would like to make the motion to recommend continuing approval of Cabrillo College Associate Degree Nursing Program.
And
do I have a second?
Oh, sorry.
I'm going to go with Tricia. Is that okay?
I am good with that.
Thank you so much.
All right. So we can open it up for public comment, please.
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I would like to reminder as your time approaches, I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, I would like to make a comment. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. Committee member Dolores Trujillo.
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Committee member Trisha Wynn.
Wynn, yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Agenda item 8.6.2. Again, discussion and possible action regarding whether to recommend continuing approval or other action for an approved pre-licensure nursing program with NCLEX pass rates of less than 75 for 2 consecutive years. This is Career Care Institute Associate Degree Nursing Program, and their information is starting on page 66 of Packet 1. Board Moderator, if you could please elevate the presenters on the list for Career Care.
So to step in real quick while that's being done, I just want to make sure that we point out the difference from the last agenda item to this agenda item. The last agenda item, we had 2 consecutive years of low NCLEX pass rates, and they were able to come up, and so you guys were able to give a continuing approval. This school has had 2 consecutive low NCLEX pass rates, and they continue to remain low.
Yes, so I will present this program. They had an approval visit.
Hang on one
conducted.
second. Hang on one second. So there will be additional considerations that will have to be discussed during this agenda item so that you guys can see the difference between the prior agenda item and this agenda item. Thank you.
An approval visit was conducted with Career Care in June of 23, following 2 consecutive years of an annual pass rate of less than 75. The program submitted and implemented a success plan, including a major curriculum revision. The program remains in non-compliance with pass rates, and you can see them. 2021 was 60, 21-22 was 56-67, and 22-23 was 57-14. With the new curriculum implementation, that does take some time, and the program is planning, of course, to come into compliance within the next year. The agenda item summary on 66 includes more detail, and the representatives are here should you have any questions. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I have a comment more than a question. This is kind of particularly troubling to me in that the students that are in this program are paying 10 times what they're paying at the last program that was able to turn itself around. And so, I think they're just doing a terrible disservice to the students when the students, pay that amount of money and then can't pass the test. So I would love for that to be addressed by the program representatives. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Evelyn Oriana. I'm the campus president. Is this my opportunity to speak?
Yes,
okay.
Please.
Okay, so today here is also Ms. Ima. She's our program director. Ms. Starting, I want to say the beginning, since about a year ago, we started to really put in a lot of work into the curriculum revision. The program is it was initially approved in 2017, and we started our first cohort. Within the first, I want to say by the 3rd year, we did identify that there were, unfortunately, the curriculum was a bit deficient, and that did take some time for us to actually identify. When we identified the problem, we started looking into a possible curriculum revision. And we all know the work, the time it takes to go through a curriculum revision. Thankfully, we were able to go through it this year. It did take a lot of work. Ms. Ema present and all the faculty members. The previous program director, Dr. Gore, was a big part of the curriculum revision. We strongly believe that with the new curriculum we have in place, we hired a consultant, we worked together with Dr. Schutte and embraced all of her recommendations. We embraced the consultant's recommendations. We made all the changes she recommended. And, that's to show the good faith that we want our program to be successful, but it is a newer program, and it did take a couple of years for us to identify the problem, the deficiencies within the curriculum. Those have been fixed, and we are very confident that that will make a significant change in our program outcomes.
Thank you so much, committee members. Please, I would like to add to what my president said. Yes, we have a new curriculum that has been approved, which is going to start October 2023. However, we did put in, we looked at, I looked at when I took over the leadership of the school a few months ago, I looked at the mountain measure report, and I discovered that our students were consistently low in assessment and analysis. And that report made me go to work with all faculty. I also realized that the students were not being exposed to a lot of NCLEX style preparation. So what we did, apart from the fact that we have a new curriculum, is for these cohorts that are graduating in October, and the next cohort that will be graduating next year, we did put in a remedial action, which are one, we have started an NCLEX review program, intensive NCLEX review program. Two, we did change our content delivery such that we integrate the clinical component, we bring the clinical to the classroom, and we take the classroom to the clinical so that our students are able to relate, think critically, reason, and be able to judge the situation, which will help their assessment and analysis. We also expose our students to a weekly NCLEX review testing, because before they were only exposed to NCLEX review type of question just in their 15-week or 14-week of the last term of the program. And I felt that it was not appropriate. So starting from term 4, which is term 3, which is the first nursing course, the students are now exposed to NCLEX style teaching, questioning, reasoning, comprehensive assessments. So we have a lot of data, and the students that will be graduating in October, they are in a better place now. And I am positive that our students, in fact, some of them are saying, hey, we want to, if it's possible, we want to write that NCLEX before we come for graduation on the 20th. So what I'm saying is that apart from the new curriculum that will give us data as from 2023, the people that are already here in the program are in a better place to face NCLEX. They are better prepared. Our faculty are trained. We now have 3 times faculty training, which was not before. So we have put in a lot of work, and I am hopeful that our next result will be impressive.
Thank you for that explanation. When your NCLEX pass rates first dropped, it looks like it was 2020, 2021. Just looking at a possible timeline, and they continue to drop for the following 2 years after that. And I hear you in that you have put processes in place that hopefully will bring up those NCLEX pass rates. When you first saw them drop, what was your immediate thought that something needed to be changed and what needed to be changed. I'm looking at your attrition rates also. So you had no attrition 2020 to 2022, but 2021 to 2022. So you had attrition drop, your attrition dropped in the middle, 2021 to 2022. What do you attribute the drop in your attrition rate versus the drop in your NCLEX pass rates? Do you think there's a correlation to that?
So our average completion rate is over 80%. So it means our students are well supported. However, through the program, however, the NCLEX rate is low. And let me just quickly state that I became the program director, this year. So I wasn't available in 2021. However, our attrition rate is low. Our students are completing over 80%, but our NCLEX is low. So the students are well supported through the program. So that was what made us realize that, hey, we are supporting them. What's going on that the NCLEX rate is not high? And that was one of the principles behind saying, let's review, because improvement is systemic. Let's review. What is it that we are not doing on the faculty side? What is it that we are not doing as an organization? And we realized that our students were only exposed to NCLEX preparation in the last 10 of their program, which is term 6.
Yeah, you'd mentioned
that. Was what made us say, no, this is not right. So when I took over, I said, from the first nursing course, which is term 3, our students are going to be exposed to those comprehensive NCLEX style questioning. The teachers are also using that unfolding case study in delivering the content. And of course, we were, like my president said, our content was a little bit deficient. So we did environmental scanning and all of that. And that was what brought about the rationale for the curriculum improvement. So yes, I agree that it may have been tracked earlier, especially considering the fact that our first NCLEX rate was at 90-something%. But unfortunately, this is where we are. But I'm saying that we put in a lot of work, and I'm requesting that we be given the opportunity to see what hard work can do, like we did for Corning College. For this, I said that will be graduating in October.
It's commendable that you have no other areas of non-compliance that were found during the visit. But this is concerning in light of the tuition cost of this program. So I, as a committee member, I would be in favor of.
So there's some options for the committee to consider with programs that are in non-compliance to allow them to come back into compliance. I'll bring an example of what we did with East LA College, where curriculum was an issue. And although they had done a curriculum revision, they were having a difficult time implementing them. And so the board actually voted to pause enrollments for one semester or one quarter and allow that curriculum to be taught to be brought into compliance for each one of the faculty members to go ahead and incorporate kind of the new curriculum so that it would be much more effective on delivery. So that is an option when you guys are considering the effect on the public and really looking at the drive of the board, which is public protection. Right now, this school only enrolls 32 students once a year in October. That is their entire annual enrollment is 32 students. So they don't have multiple cohorts going through. They don't have large enrollment rates. It is it is only 32 students. And so if the board were to stop an enrollment, they would actually halt enrollment in the entire program, and that would be very detrimental. So a different kind of public protection to look at with that is they would have no annual enrollment if that was something that the board would do. If the board looked at decreasing enrollments, say dropping it from 32 down to something smaller than that, what the board would need to take into consideration at that point is resources, right? Because you have faculty loads, you have clinical placements that are expecting these students to come out. Again, if it was a larger enrollment number, that might be something that would behoove the school to be able to manage this. It does not look like it's an enrollment issue that is problematic to this outcome. However, they did mention, which I appreciated hearing, is that they're now polling the mountain measures. Those are key. Those are actual metrics from each one of their students that take the NCLEX. It specifically tells them where on that NCLEX they are not successful and where they're doing very well. And it looked like EMA took that into consideration, brought it back to the faculty meeting, and are starting to have that improvement. The questions that I think that are still kind of outstanding with this are the curriculum revision. When is that being implemented, or has it already been implemented? And when do you think the first graduating cohort will be that would experience that entirely new curriculum?
So the new curriculum is starting this October, with the cohort coming in October 2023 that will be graduating in October 2025. However, I'm sure we don't have to wait for 2025, because apart from the curriculum, we have also put measures in place for the student that will be graduating this October and the one that will be graduating next October. So what I'm saying is that because we've already put this measure in place, I'm telling you, I wish you can know how convinced I am that we are about to see an improvement, because we did see deficiency on the part of the faculty and also on us as a school. And we know that these students pay for this program, and we have gone to work. Whether that be content delivery, whether that be support services, resources, these students that are graduating this October and next October, they have received it. So we are not going to wait until 2025 to begin to see the improvement of the curriculum, new curriculum. But we are going to see the result of hard work with the cohort that will be graduating this October.
Thank you for that. And so then,
if I may add, Ms. Melby, I do want to add that the average tuition for our students is about 35 to 40,000 for the program, because the majority of them do come in with credits from outside.
Thank you for that. So just to go back kind of on timeline here for our members and our public to understand, it is an annual pass rate that we look at. So they will have graduates that complete in October. We will not know the effect of that until after July of 2024. That is when we'll get the next annual pass rates that come to us through Pearson VUE and CSBN. So when we get that, our board would have a better idea of an improvement, any improvements that would be seen. Those improvements would be reflective of the changes that are being implemented currently and not reflective of a new curriculum. When that new curriculum, they will be taught in starting this fall. It is a 2-year curriculum. Those graduates will be October of 2025. You would not expect to see an increased NCLEX pass rate based on curriculum changes until that following summer after the June closure of that. So you'd be looking at July 2026 before you would see an increase in NCLEX that could be contributed to a new curriculum. Some of the things that NCSBN talks about when looking at programs that may be at risk would be new approved programs. This is a program that was approved in 2017. Typically, new approved programs are considered at risk for about 5 years. We are just a little bit over that 5-year mark, but obviously taking into consideration some of the pandemic, some of the extraordinary issues that have come into place, this could very well continue to be considered an at-risk program simply because of the length that this program has been approved. The other thing that is looked at with high-risk programs are turnover of administration. And that was one of the things that was kind of brought up here, is that there's a brand new director that's come in. It's a new set of eyes. They're getting on their feet. They're looking at everything. And so there is a transition period that needs to be expected during that as well. So those are the things I just wanted to highlight to you guys that does show that this program is an at-risk program, in addition to having the low NCLEX pass rates. The board follows the process in our regulations under 1423.2. And they talk about, upon presenting evidence of non-compliances with Article 3 and lack of demonstrated corrective actions to remove non-compliance, the board may take actions. I want to make sure that we understand here that this program is providing evidence of corrective actions to correct these non-compliances. The first one would be denial of approval of a nursing program. The second option would be to revoke approval from a nursing program. The third option would be to place a nursing program on a warning status with intent to revoke approval. That is something that could be motioned today and recommended, is that they go on a warning status and they give them a clear timeline to come back into compliance. If you look at 1423.2b, 4A4, it says revoke approval when a program has been on a warning status for 1 year and the program fails to show substantive corrective action. And then B says the board shall provide specific requirements for correction of non-compliance findings and a return date for the review of the program approval. So you're sitting here with areas of non-compliance and a public effect. You guys would be able to provide specific requirements for correction. This is a continuing approval ask, so you could place them on a warning status. That warning status gets put onto our website. Potential students looking at this program will understand that they're on a warning status. If they are accredited, it does get reported to accrediting agencies as well, so they understand that the board has put them on a warning status. And it just provides a little more clarity to the public when they're choosing programs. But the big thing here is we could also defer taking any action on the specific approval status of the program. So they maintain a continuing approval, but then the board does take action on what those specific requirements are for correction and timelines when they expect that to be done. And then you can also consider having reports to the NEC that then are brought to the board. With ELAC, which was one of the examples we talked about previously, we had them bring in more frequent than quarterly. They did reports to both the committee and reports to the board. And so there were 8 reports submitted on an annual basis to the NEC and to the board. They were also asked to come in to present to board and committee each time, so that the board and committee would have time to communicate with them, ask questions, receive some detailed information, and then move on, where it wasn't just submitted as a progress report as part of those tables that you guys accepted earlier today as a consent. So those are some of your options. And I'll leave it up to the committee for more discussions, and I'm here for assistance as needed.
Thank you, Lori. That was very good.
If I may, I'd like to advocate a little bit more for the school. We have done a lot this year, and I would like all that to be considered before taking action. If possible, defer, because Also, with what you have pointed out, Ms. Melby, we're approved for one cohort a year of 32 students. Typically, we average 26 to 28 students per cohort. A warning status, we know what that does to the program. It is unfortunately, it's seen as a bad label. And when I first came into CCI, within that time, the program had been placed on warning status because we lost our program director at that time. And the reason for the warning status was due to the board refers to it as a, I'm sorry, help me out here, when you don't have a program director. I forget the terminology, but due to that.
Turnover in administration? Is
Correct.
that what
Yes. And shortly after, we were able to bring in a program director, but that warning status did affect us with our clinical sites as well. The current students that were enrolled in the program, were displaced because the clinical sites, they don't really know what a warning status really means in their minds. I had to meet with them personally and explain to them that it wasn't that the school was getting shut down, and explain the whole meaning of it and the process and the why and the what ifs and all that. But I want to point that out, that a warning status does affect the program and the current students enrolled in the program, because in a sense they're displaced from some of the clinical sites due to that.
I have a comment.
Trish.
Thank you. So I'm really torn on this. I mean, I understand what the administrator of this program is saying. I really do. And I have a lot of sympathy. I do think that you're working really hard. But the truth of the matter is, students are coming into this program. They are paying a lot of money, even if they're only paying half of the larger tuition. And they're not being adequately trained to pass the NCLEX. And I understand it's Lancaster, so I understand that those students probably don't have a whole lot of choices, but I am really concerned that this is an underperforming program. So I don't want to be totally punitive and slap a warning label on your school, but I do want to make sure that we are kept in very close contact and really told what you are doing to turn this failing program.
I'd like to add also that we don't give up. We don't stop our service to the students at the time that they leave, that they end their enrollment here and take their NCLEX, and the ones that fail, it doesn't end there. We work with the students even after they take their first attempt, and the students that fail, we still work with them. We provide NCLEX review to them. A lot of them are working to pay off, their bills there, and we still work. We offer online NCLEX review for them. And even though, we are measured by the first NCLEX test attempt, there are a lot of students that have passed the NCLEX on their second attempt, and that has a lot to do with the continuous support we give them, because even after they did not pass that attempt, we are in contact with them. We offer them. We have Dr. Alan Ocampo. He's our virtual NCLEX reviewer, and we offer those sessions to the students. Our career services department reaches out to them as well and is in contact with them, along with our dean of academics, to offer them the support they need so that when they go and retest, they can pass the exam. And
thank you. I'm pleased to hear that. So does that then, if they take the exam a second or third time, does that get reflected in the NCLEX number that we see?
No, it doesn't. It does not. So NCLEX pass rates, what we have the authority over is first-time test takers.
Okay.
And to explain further why that is important is NCLEX, once you fail that NCLEX, there is a trickle-down effect that occurs. So when you have a person that graduates a program that applies for licensure in California, they can apply for an interim permit. That interim permit allows them to work for 6 months or until they get the results of their NCLEX. So if you have a person that graduates a program, they apply to us today, they go ahead and they get an interim permit as soon as we give them their authorization to test. That allows them to go to work. They get to participate in their new grad training programs. They get to start that process at a hospital or a healthcare site. And that graduate gets to do nursing services under the direction of an RN while they're awaiting their NCLEX results. If they take their NCLEX and pass, they get their permanent RN license. If they take their NCLEX and fail, they do not get their permanent license and they lose their interim permit, therefore losing their job. Additionally, if they fail the NCLEX, it is a 3-month wait. Sorry, let me completely correct that. It is a 3-month wait where they cannot reapply to take an NCLEX. And so at that point, they are now not able to work either with an interim permit or not, and they are not able to retake the exam for that amount of time. And then they do have to go through another application process with us. They do pay an additional fee with us. It is a reapply, re-exam. And so there is additional monies that are having to be spent by these applicants. I'm actually pulling up the fees for you guys right now so that you guys understand that it's a much larger issue than just looking at that. So our exam fee for California is, and I should know this off the top of my head, but I so many numbers in here all the time. So for California grads, they pay $300 for their exam fee. If they need to repeat, they pay another $250. This is not the same fee that goes to Pearson VUE to take the NCLEX. That's an additional money that is charged to them to take the exam every single time. For the NCLEX that Pearson VUE charges, the registration fee is $200. When they go ahead and retake that, they pay another $200. So they have $300 from us and $200 to get their initial NCLEX and RN license through us, if everything goes smooth. If they fail, they have to wait an additional 3 months. They lose their interim permit. They pay an additional $250 to us, an additional $200 back to NCSBN. So you're looking at $1,000. In California, nursing students that have graduated can retake the exam indefinitely. So this can go on and on and on until they pass. Additionally, each time having them sit out and wait, hopefully do some kind of remediation and then retake. And so across the nation, we look at first-time pass rates because the degree does not mean you get to work as an RN. The license is the only thing that allows you to work as an RN, and the NCLEX is the only thing that allows you to get that license afterward that's approved by the individual boards.
Yeah, so all the initial fees for the licensing for the NCLEX and licensing are included in our tuition. So that's all covered the first attempt. Of course, our goal is to get the students to test and pass on their first attempt. But I did want to point that out, that we don't leave the students there, alone for those that fail. We still provide the additional support to them. And we make sure that they pass because one of the hospitals we utilize want these students and they reach out to us, they need RN. So the majority, I don't know if this was included in our report or not, but if possible, I'd like to be able to provide you guys with a report of the students, the amount of students that have actually passed NCLEX and that have been employed at RNs at the facilities that we utilize as clinical sites. That is a much higher number and a higher rate than what's accounted for in the NCLEX pass rates due to what you just explained, Ms. I just wanted to point that out because it is something that we do. And as Ms. Ema stated, a lot of the changes have been adopted to reflect in the outcomes of our current two. Today is actually the last day for our for one of our cohorts. They're graduating, and these measures have already been implemented. So we're confident that all the work that we've put in this cohort will be reflected in this class. And then if we have a second cohort that will be graduating next October, and we're confident that we will have higher pass rates in that class as well. And then the following year is when the the new curriculum that will be implemented in this 2023 cohort will reflect. And, again, I would like to be given the opportunity to demonstrate the improvement.
Just to add to what President Orellana has said, I believe in data. The mountain measure report, we did environmental scan, we spoke with other schools that were successful. I did all of this work and it factored into my NCLEX improvement plan. I am just pleading with the committee that please, the hard work that I've put in since I became the program director, please give me the opportunity to show that we can do better. And the school has been very supportive. Even though our program meets the 500 direct clinical hours, the school has gone ahead and worked on our simulation lab. We now have other, tools and resources that we'll use to promote the students' learning. And the students are in a better place. Please give me the opportunity to show what hard work can do. Thank you.
What is the date that your current students are set to graduate right now?
Their graduation, they are done with the term. Their graduation is October the 20th.
Okay, so for the committee, just to another kind of possibility for consideration is they graduate the end of this month, correct?
Yes.
And our board meeting is scheduled for November 15th and 16th. We will not have good data on this group at that particular moment. And so you guys could consider having this program come back to the January committee meeting and be heard at the February board. That would then allow this program to show us some additional results that they are able to get from this current cohort that is about to graduate in about 3 weeks. And that may help the committee and the board make a decision. It may not, but that is definitely an option that can be done. We've seen that happen in the past. The other option, not an option, but something to take into consideration is that if you guys do vote to do deferred status or to put them on warning status, this is a committee vote that can always be changed at the board meeting in November or whatever board meeting they come back into. It is only a recommendation and not something that is, of course, set in stone. But the other thing is if you guys are doing progress reports to be brought back in front of committee and board, they could be brought back in front of committee and board January and February as well. So if anything were to change by that point, additional items can be brought forward, additional changes can be made. This is not a one-time vote that kind of stays stagnant. There is opportunities for our board and our committee to change things up as they go. So just wanted to kind of throw that out there for you guys.
If there are no other comments from board members, As a committee member, I would like to go ahead and make a motion. Any other comments, Jovita, Tricia?
No, thank
I'm
you.
good.
So I would like to make a motion to recommend deferring taking action. So putting you on deferred status, not at warning at this point. On the continuing approval status for Career Care Institute Associate Degree Nursing Program while you work to clear the areas of noncompliance. At this time, I would like to request you'll give the quarterly reports to the NEC, but I also would like to request that you come to the board quarterly to apprise us of your status and your progress.
I would second that motion. Thank you, Dolores.
I have a concern. I do have a concern. But it sounds like you're on the right road, the right track, and you just need some time. So I have a second from Tricia, BRN moderator. Can we open it up for public comment?
For clarification, Dolores, are you having them come back to committee or come back to board or both?
Committee. That's a good question.
And then I know that Marianne asked this question. Do you want them to present at each committee and or board, or just provide a progress report that would go on the table?
I would like them to present because I still have concerns, and I'm sure my peers on the board also have concerns about we would like to really ask questions if we can regarding their progress. Probably to the board.
Okay. Marianne, was that motion clear enough, or do you need that?
I would like to just reiterate that we're taking deferred action on continuing approval status of Career Care Institute Associate Degree Nursing Program while they work to clear their non-compliances, and that we are asking for quarterly reports to the NEC and for them to return to just the board quarterly, or that's the part I'm not sure. Are they coming to ELC and board? For the ELC to make a recommendation to the board each time, or you just want them to go straight to the board?
Board members, do you have the thing about, we've heard all of the, the progress today, but the board members haven't necessarily heard this.
But they'll hear it in November, correct?
True. So probably the board, because we'd have to go in front of the board anyway, wouldn't we, Lori? Yeah. Okay. So probably the board.
Makes any changes.
So nothing to ELC, just to the board. They need to present quarterly to the board. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I was typing and not looking at you. My apologies.
Going through my head too. But yes.
Yeah, I was just thinking from a standpoint of they come. You're right. You guys have heard it and know the board will have, but they may just sometimes they just accept your recommendation, right? So if they since this committee knows if they present to you quarterly and you make a recommendation to the board, you're really following up on what's happening. Because you're right, we might do this and then go to the board, and if the board does not see any concerns to pull this item out, it will be a consent agenda item and move forward as you recommended. So that would be the only reason I would suggest that you present to the ELC and the board, so that the ELC, well, I shouldn't say I present to ELC because the board might be a consent agenda item, or could be if they accept your recommendations. Lori, does that make sense that the board would accept recommendations? And anyway, it doesn't matter to me. It's totally up to you. I'm just trying to streamline it as best we can.
Marianne, I appreciate very much your, kind of informing us. And Dolores, I would think it would be more appropriate for the school to make a recommendation to the committee. It is really up to the committee to make a
That's perfect.
recommendation to the board. So it just seems like maybe rather than bog down a board meeting,
Yeah.
the four of us can,
That's where I'm at.
yeah.
Okay. So
Now, of course, I would ask them to be available. You know what I mean? I would ask
Yeah.
them to be
Yeah.
at the board meetings, of course, because the board does have the option to pull out any item and ask questions and talk to the program. So the program would be available at both meetings. They just would present to you so that you could make a recommendation to the board.
Yes.
And the committee, when they do hear it, if you do want to make a recommendation that they present to the
Yes.
board, that's a possibility at any of the times, so it doesn't have to be set. So my understanding is we're deferring taking action on the continuing approval, and that you are taking action by asking for quarter reports due to the NEC to be presented at the ELC committee on a quarterly basis. And we will move forward with that.
Okay. Ima and Evelyn, yes. Thank you. Thank you for your time and answering our questions. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate your understanding. Thank you.
So we have a motion and a second on the floor.
Yes. BRN moderator, can we open it up for public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in the request for a comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comment. I will not give a reminder as time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Board President Trujillo, there are no public requests for comments. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, thank you. Jovita, do you want to take the vote?
Yes, I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. Committee member Dolores Trujillo.
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Committee member Trisha Nguyen.
Nguyen votes yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. The next agenda item is 8.7.1. This is discussion and possible action regarding whether to recommend continuing approval or other action for approved nursing programs. So information, the first one we're going to do is San Francisco State University Baccalaureate and Entry-Level Master's Degree programs. Their information starts on page 72 of Packet 1. And board moderator, if you could please elevate the presenters on the list from San Francisco State. So San Francisco State had a regularly scheduled continuing approval visit in March of 23, and they were found to be in noncompliance in 6 major areas with 7 other related areas of noncompliance. Since the visit, the program has come into compliance with all except one noncompliance which remains, which is 1425 1B faculty orientation. They are working on this in order to come into full compliance. The agenda item summary on page 72 includes more detail. The representatives are here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Have they been elevated? I don't see them.
Elaine, are you there? There she is. Hi, Elaine.
Sorry, I didn't know I needed to click the button. So.
That's okay. No worries. Thanks for being here.
Sure.
So the last area of that you need to come into compliance for is faculty orientation.
Yes. Yeah. So basically, yeah, we were really not very formal in documentation of orientation that we were doing, and we were very focused on clinical faculty orientation rather than all faculty. Many of our lecture faculty were tenure track, which there's an orientation by the university. And so thanks to the visit and input from the NEC, we actually have changed, and instead of having a clinical faculty orientation every semester, we now have an all faculty orientation. We also have tracking mechanism where we have checklists of ensuring that all the faculty are going through the specific steps necessary, such as learning not only verbally, but having documents they can refer to for policies and procedures, the evaluation process for evaluating students in the various courses, different teaching strategies that they can utilize. So we have both the checklist that every new faculty is doing, plus we have a tracking mechanism that we will keep on file moving forward. And we also have gone back to other faculty that were here previously and are still with us, and ensuring that they also have the orientation that was necessary.
I have a comment, which is just to thank you. I mean, I'm very impressed that you've kept your numbers up, both NCLEX passage rate and attrition, while going through, some pretty significant program improvements. And I'm, pleased to hear that you have a more structured orientation program laid out. So I just want to thank you very much for working with us to, improve your program.
Thank you. A lot of work from Heather and Marianne to get us where we need to be. So I appreciate their input tremendously.
So I do have a question. Do you have adequate faculty now for your pediatric rotation?
Right now we do, yes. It's always very challenging. We actually have stopped holding our, looking at not holding our Sunday clinicals anymore, because that is the one that we just really have a hard time getting clinical faculty for, because most of the nurses that we have for clinical instructors work every other weekend. So we have requested from the one hospital to go back to our Monday, Thursday instead of our Sunday, Monday. But right now, yes, we're set with our PEDS faculties.
Okay. Did you fall behind while you had issues with your pediatric rotation?
No, we didn't. That was one of the good things that came out of the pandemic, is we really got very proficient with using vSim through Lippincott. We really liked it. They have great scenarios for pediatrics. So we actually could, instead of having, say, the 8 students at the clinical sites that we normally would have on the floor, we could bump enrollment in those groups up by 1 or 2 students. And therefore, then they just started doing simulations. So everybody got their in-hospital direct patient care hours at 75%, and up to 25% was vSim. So everybody stayed on track. Everybody graduated on time.
Okay. Any of the other committee members have any questions or comments? No?
No, I'm okay.
So I would like to make a motion as a committee member to recommend deferring taking action on the continuing approval status for San Francisco State University baccalaureate and entry-level master's degree nursing program while they will work to clear the areas of noncompliance.
Jovita seconds.
Thank you.
Could I ask if you would like to add, if you see the additional possibility as far as reports and when they want to come back, if you want to add anything?
They have the quarterly reports that go to the NEC, correct?
If you ask us to, yes.
Yes, so quarterly reports to the NEC and return to our committee board in 1 year.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jovita, are you still willing to second?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. BRN moderator, can you please open it up for public comments?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in the request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment."
Are you kidding me?
Board President Trujillo, there are no public requests for comments. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, thank you. Jovita, you want to do the vote?
Yes. Jovita Dominguez votes yes. Committee member Dolores Trujillo.
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Committee member Trisha Wynn.
Wynn votes yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Next agenda item 8.7.2. Discussion and possible action regarding whether to recommend continuing approval or other action for an approved nursing program. This is Mission College Associate Degree Nursing Program, and their information starts on page 79 of Packet 1. Board Moderator, if you would please elevate the presenters on the list for Mission. Mission had a regularly scheduled continuing approval visit in April of 2023, and at that time, the program was found to be in noncompliance with one major area and 5 related noncompliances in areas related to 1424. Since the visit, the program has now come into full compliance with all board rules and regulations and are seeking approval. The agenda item summary on page 79 includes more detail, and the program representatives are here should you have questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Who is elevated?
Carol Hartman, I believe.
If I could ask a question,
Sure.
so that when the program representatives speak, maybe they can address that. I don't often see the NCLEX passage rate go up and down the way it has. You've shown 5 years on this staff report. 2 of the 5, they're not really in compliance. They're not in compliance, and 3, they are in compliance. I understand that it's a resource issue, but I'm hoping that the program representatives will talk about how they are working to make sure that resources are consistent.
Thank you, Trish. That's a very good question. Yeah, thank you.
Trisha, thank you so much for asking that question. It was actually one that I had as I'm starting the director this year. I had been assistant director for a year. And when the CAV came up, I was tasked to look at our pass rates and some of the things that we felt may have been kind of deficient in that kind of wave situation. And looking back at the actual rates, if you look at it per cohort, not per year, the way that the board does, we were actually fairly consistently just above the current pass rate, about 75 to 78% per cohort. And what I found was the down years that we had were students who delayed in taking the test for the first time and didn't pass due to that kind of delay. And it seemed to kind of happen in that wave. We would have a bunch of students who would pass on the first try, and then a few students who just didn't take the test were deferring. And it kind of was that weird wave pattern. So that's why I went back and looked at an actual cohort by cohort to understand how our curriculum and the different resources that we were supporting our students, was it really weird, or were we being consistent? And we really found we were being consistent, but we didn't feel we were being like as robust as we could. And so some of the things we have implemented this year, and I think you'll see the pass rates have come up substantially this year and will be next year, is a lot of more NCLEX prep. We found our students to be good with the content, the curriculum was sound, but because we do have a lot of students who are DSPS, who have English as a second language, who have been in practice because we are an LVN to RN program. They've been in practice for a long time, and so their knowledge of things are great, but their test taking skills sometimes lack. And so we've been working very consistently with our students and with our instructors to pull in some more of that to our curriculum, just as added test taking strategies, test taking skills, and more test taking opportunities for them.
So
why do you think the students delayed taking the NCLEX for the first round? Were you able to come up with any findings?
Through our student survey, it was difficult. There are just a few students. We only have 26 to 30 students per cohort, and it's once a year. What looked like from our survey was that they had been working as LVNs and just really not had the time to put into taking the test and moving forward with their RN license.
Any other questions or comments from committee members?
I was just going to point out exactly what they had pointed out. This is a school that enrolls once a year, 30 students annually every summer. And so when you do get people taking NCLEX, that's not directly right after the graduation, those numbers can be thrown off. But those are still at first time NCLEX pass rates. And that's something that you truly do have to kind of monitor. And it's great to see that the program director is aware of that now. I know that a lot of times when these schools are seeing students come in to test at a later time, that has been a difficulty for them. One of the improvements that we did at the board here is we did the the grad upload portal. And so now what the directors are seeing is they get noticed of every single person that has applied to take the NCLEX for the first time that is associated with their school code. So when they go into that portal, if they are able to identify that that's a student that is taking the NCLEX for the first time, that graduated 2 or 3 years ago, they can make contact with that student prior to that student taking the test. So what typically occurs at that point now is they will approve that student saying that they've met the academic requirements for licensure, which is what the role of the director is in using that portal. But it gives them that foresight to say, hey, student Z on here is not my current graduating cohort. Let me reach out and make sure they have all of the support they need going in to take this NCLEX. Do they need remediation? Have they tested recently on any of the practice exams? And what can you do to move them forward? We've actually heard schools saying that they have put them back into their open labs. They've had them audit courses that have already taken in order for them to get some refresh, because there is many data points out there that point to the highest percentage of passing NCLEX on the first time test takers is within 3 months from graduation. So when they do delay, that is a problematic. And when you're dealing at such small numbers, 30 students only, every year, 1 or 2 will cause your NCLEX pass rates to drop, versus somebody that has a very large enrollment. You get 1 or 2 that drop. It's not going to affect them as greatly as the smaller programs that have 1 or 2 drop out of a 30.
Thank you, Lori. Is there a possibility that we can also defer action on the continuing approval for this college?
The board can defer taking action on anything that is on the agenda. That just means you don't do anything to it and you just wait. And the prior board action that had ever happened previously is the one that stands. This program currently is in compliance. And so what you would typically see at this point is you guys would vote to recommend approval of this program so that it can continue on as what you see on the PowerPoint in front of you. But as part of your recommendation, you guys can always add more. So even if you did a motion to recommend continued approval for Mission College, you could still ask for an annual progress report to be brought back, to be put to the NEC and then brought back to committee. If that's something that you're concerned, you can do a biannual, so you can do every 6 months if that's something that you want. Just because you approve a program doesn't mean you can't ask for more. And so that, just to put that out there for you guys.
Tricia, did you have something to say?
No, I don't. I would be in favor of recommending continuing approval.
Okay.
They are in compliance. Would you like me to make the motion?
Oh, sure.
I'd move that we recommend continuing approval for Mission College Associate Degree Program.
Now, do we want them to come back biannual, quarterly to the committee?
Won't the NEC be monitoring and bringing it to our attention if they see something troubling?
Yes, ma'am.
They've heard this conversation, so they know what we're, concerned about.
Okay. All right. I will second your motion.
BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. Committee member Dolores Trujillo.
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Committee member Tricia Nguyen.
Nguyen, yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
I would like to request that we take a 15-minute break at this point before moving on in the agenda, if that's agreeable to everyone. All right.
I'm okay with that.
So we would come back, let's just say 11:20, 11:25.
I think we're good with 11:20.
Let's do 11:25.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. See everybody then.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Morning. It's still morning. This is Jovita Dominguez. Just need to do a roll call. I am present. Is committee member Dolores Trujillo present?
Dolores Trujillo is present.
And committee member Tricia Nguyen?
Tricia Nguyen is present.
Executive Officer Lori Melby?
Present.
And Reza, our lawyer.
Reza Pezhuhesh.
Pezhuhesh. I have to practice that. Pezhuhesh. And BRN moderator, I believe, is present also, and Dr. McCarthy.
I'm here. We're ready to
Thank
start.
you. Yes.
All right, we're going to pick up at 8.8.1. And this is the discussion and possible action regarding acceptance of substantive changes to approved nursing programs. The first program is Cuesta College Associate Degree Nursing Program, and they are requesting an enrollment increase. We're now on to packet 2. When it comes to materials and information for this program can be found on page 4 of packet 2. Board moderator, if you would please elevate the presenters on the list for Cuesta. So Cuesta is located in San Luis Obispo. They are requesting an enrollment increase. On page 4 of the packet, you can see their current enrollment of 50 students annually, which includes 46 generic students once a year and 4 advanced placement students once a year. They are requesting 80 students annually, and in order to make that increase, they want to keep their 46 generic students once a year in the fall, and they want to add 30 more students to their advanced placement, making their advanced placement numbers 34 once a year. So again, increasing the advanced placement cohort from 4 to 34, which is an increase of 30 more students to the program. The agenda item summary on page 4 has more details. And we have data on page 5. They are in region 5, and that data shows all the changes that have happened in the past 5 years in region 5. The program representatives are here should you have any questions. Thank you.
I do want to take this time just to reiterate to our committee members the update that occurred with the passing of our sunset bill, and that added section Business Professions Code 2786.2 that talks about enrollment increase. And it says, when considering a request to increase enrollment, the board may consider only the following factors related to the ability to adequately train additional students. Adequacy of resources, including but not limited to faculty, facilities, equipment, and supplies. Availability of clinical placements. Complaints that have been verified by the board from students, faculty, or other interested parties. Licensing examination pass rates, graduation rates, and retention rates. Any other similar factors specified by the board and regulations. And then it states the board shall not consider nursing workforce issues, including those identified under section 2717 as factors for purposes of this subparagraph. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
Sure, Tricia, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. You know, it's an impressive program. And so thank you, Lori, for the reminder of what we are to consider. So I guess I would just ask questions generally about the number of placement, you know, clinical placement, placements in this Central California area.
Is that my turn to respond?
You're welcome to jump in, Beth. Thank you so much.
All right. We do have some great community partners. We have 4 and 5 acute care facilities that we can put our students in. We have Tenet Health and we have Dignity Health. Both of them have a number of facilities that are available to us. In addition to that, we have our Department of State Tascadero, and that is a very large facility here in our area as well. We also have a number of long-term care facilities where we can do our geriatric portions. We have 2 facilities, acute care facilities, that do allow for our pediatric rotations. And so currently we have a number of the facilities we're actually working with us to increase our enrollment. It's quite a need in our area. We live in basically a rural area. It is expensive to live here in San Luis Obispo County. And because of that, having a livable wage is something that is very important. Currently, our acute care facilities are paying for nurses to come to our area to work. We do have quite a bit of registry that are in our facilities. This costs them quite a bit of money. So they are very invested in us and increasing our program, and they welcome us as we have shared with them what our plan is for this increased enrollment.
Thank you.
I do have one question. You're increasing the LVN to RN advanced placements. Which courses do they get credit for? Is there a general plan, or do you do that on an individual basis?
We have a general plan. The traditional cohort, that is what we traditionally call the first semester. That is fundamentals, and that is where we do our GERI education in that area. So we do give them credit for that. So they do come into the second semester, they drop into the semester in which they do the PEDS OB rotation and med surge. Then they go into their second session, which is basically med surge content and acute care. And then their third semester is the acute care content with their preceptorship and their psych rotation.
They're essentially getting credit for the LVN for fundamentals and geriatrics. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
Oh.
From the committee members? I like that you're using the LVN to RN program to do this. It provides mobility for the LVNs in the area to move up. I commend you for this.
Thank you. We do have an LVN program. Our LVN program, we have 30 students in that program. The requirement that we have is that they work for at least 6 months once they graduate. And so we really are excited about providing them with a pathway so that they can grow and move in their nursing.
Yeah, I think that's very important. If there's no other questions or comments, as a committee member, I'd like to make the motion to recommend acceptance of the substantive changes requested by an approved program and approve the enrollment increase for Cuesta College, sorry, wrapping my mouth around that one. Associate degree nursing program with an enrollment pattern of 46 generic students each fall, which is unchanged, and 34 LVN to RN advanced placement students once a year, which is an increase of 30 LVN to RN advanced placement students for an annual enrollment of 80 students.
I'll second that, Dolores.
Thank you, Tricia.
Thank you.
You're a moderator. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead,
PRN moderator, would you take us to public comment, please?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in the request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comment. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. I'd like to take it to a vote. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. Committee member Dolores Trujillo,
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Committee member Trisha Nguyen,
Nguyen, yes.
motion carries.
At this time, I need to take a quick break. I'm having some technical difficulty.
Yeah, let's take 5 minutes to address the technical difficulty. Thank you so much.
Right. Thanks.
Jovita, you can open up and take roll call and make sure that Dolores is able to get back on camera and has audio.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, we can hear you. I can hear
Thank
you.
I just
Okay,
I had to reboot everything. So thank you.
Thank
no
you.
worries. Jovita
Those
Dominguez
updates are
present.
tricky. They come in at any time. I appreciate that.
And committee member Dolores Trujillo
Present.
and committee member Trisha Nguyen.
Nguyen, present.
Thank you. And Executive Officer Lori Melby.
I'm present. I promise there wasn't an update. I just had a hard time finding my mute button.
Okay. And then Dr. McCarthy.
I'm here.
All right. And so BRN moderator is here. And Raza, our attorney.
Reza Pejiehesh here as well.
Thank you. All right. So I believe we're on 8.8.2.
Yes, thank you. Discussion and possible action regarding acceptance of a substance change to an approved program. This is San Joaquin Delta College Associate Degree Nursing Program, and they are requesting an enrollment increase. Information on this program can be found starting on page 8 in packet 2. And board moderator, would you please elevate the presenters on the list for San Joaquin Delta? So San Joaquin Delta is in Stockton, California, and they are requesting an enrollment increase of 10 students for their spring semester. The program currently admits 60 generic only in the fall and 80, and that 80 is made up by 40 generic and 40 Fast Track Hope students in the spring. The program is requesting to enroll 90 students in the spring, making it 40 generic and 50 of the Fast Track Hope cohort. This increases their enrollment from 80 to 90 students every spring semester for the Fast Track Hope cohort. In your packet, which starts on page 8, and in the information that the program provided, they do a good job of talking about the Fast Track Hope cohort and what that means. We also, of course, have given you data on page 9 related to Region 4. That's where they're located, and that is the information of what has been going on in Region 4 for the past 5 years. We have representatives here should you have any questions. Thank you.
Well, this is Trisha. I just have a comment, and that is, I think this is just a really modest increase that's being requested, and it is kind of a very interesting program. And I think their stats look great, and seems like they're doing a good job. So, you know, I would be in favor of recommending the acceptance of this increase.
I agree wholeheartedly. And it's an area in the valley which is sorely needed.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to make that a motion, Tricia?
Sure. I will move that we recommend the acceptance of the substantive changes requested by an approved program and approve the enrollment increase for San Joaquin Delta College Associate Degree Nursing Program with an enrollment pattern.
That is recommended here.
Oh, that is recommended here. Sorry. The parentheses was a little, okay. Thank you. That is recommended here.
I see what you mean.
Just to clarify, this is not an enrollment pattern that's recommended. This is the enrollment pattern that you guys would recommend at this point. What is down in the bullet point is what the school has requested. So if you are wanting to approve what the school has requested, you can just read down
Thank you.
their request. If you guys are wanting to choose that or vary from that or anything else, you would then put what your recommendation is in that space.
Thank you. So just to clarify, my motion recommends that we accept what the school has requested, which is 40 generic students unchanged and 50 FAST Hope students each spring, which is an increase of 10 FAST Hope students, and 60 generic students unchanged in the fall for an annual enrollment of 150 students. Thank you, Lori, for that clarification.
I would
You're welcome.
second
Thank
that.
you.
I would second that.
Thank you, Dolores. Would we like to take it to public comment?
Yes.
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should request. They should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please, and I'd like to take it to a vote. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. Committee member Dolores Trujillo.
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Committee member Tricia Nguyen.
Nguyen votes yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much. Moving on to agenda item 8.8.3, discussion and possible action regarding acceptance of a substantive change to an approved nursing program. This is Pacific Union College Associate Degree Nursing Program, and they are requesting an enrollment increase. I just want to bring to your attention that yesterday we had to make some updates to the packet for this program only, and so if you looked at it before yesterday, you're going to see a little bit of difference today in the numbers, and I will talk about that as we go. The information on this program can be found starting on page 16 in packet 2. And board and moderator, if you could please elevate the presenters on the list for Pacific Union. So Pacific Union has a training partnership with Adventist Health Hospitals to employees and residents of rural areas to move into the nursing career. They are requesting an enrollment increase of 36 students, which would be 12 students 3 times a year at their Angwin campus. This will make their enrollment pattern 48 students 3 times a year for an enrollment pattern of 160 students annually at their Angwin campus. So what we had previously was 34 students, and that was an error because that would make it very difficult to divide by 3. So we had talked about making it an even number, and so that's where we came up with 36 instead of 34 students so that they could have 12 3 times a year and not have to worry about how they were going to add one person and which cohort and that kind of thing. So that was the only change was the numbers so that it would work out and not change the impact in any particular semester. The agenda item summary is on page 16 and 17, and that includes more details. They are in Region 2, and that data is on page 18, and it shows the past 5 years with data for Region 2. I just want to clarify too that they are working with this Adventist Health Hospital system, and you'll see in their AIS that they have specific hospitals that they're working with. And so although students will be coming to campus for their lecture, they will be doing their clinical and all of their other things that they need to do actually at the hospital. And that's how they're hoping to reach these rural sites that can help add to the nursing opportunities in those areas. The program representative is here, and if you have any questions, thanks so much.
One quick update on the data sheet on page 18. It talks about the 11 students added to the fall, 11 to the winter, and 12 to the spring. That was the original request on the executive summary, and that's what was made. It was a conversation that occurred with the NEC that they made it equal. So it's 12 students added to their fall, 12 to their winter, and 12 to the spring cohort. And that just wasn't caught because the executive summary still had the 34 instead of 36. So it was just a 2-number change.
Thanks, Lori. Yes, we did not. I missed the data sheet. Thank you so much.
Who's been elevated for Pacific Union College?
I'm here.
Kimberly Dunker.
Oh, okay.
I can't get my video to start. I don't know why.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. We know you're there.
Okay.
Now, you recently came in front of the board for the partnership with Adventist Health in your Sonora.
Yes, this is a different area that we're looking at working with, partly because we already have students that come to our college that are in our pre-nursing track to come in because they are unable to get admission in their local areas. So they're already here, we've identified them, and this was just an amazing opportunity for us to reach these rural areas using the Friday, Saturday, Sunday open time to allow students to go home and do their clinical rotations. And it just seems like an unused tap source for us, as well as a great partnership that we already have with Adventist Health. We also are lucky enough to have received the Song Brown Award, which has enabled us with that, with some additional donors, to grow our simulation at our Angwin campus and to really use that. If you can see that we have quite a bit of hours above the required direct care hours, which we are underutilizing experiential learning activities. So this has been an incredible opportunity for us to grow a little bit and to utilize these resources that we know have been very successful in training nursing students and not solely rely on the hospitals for all the clinical. We are well above what we need for direct care hours.
And you're, with this increase, you're okay with the clinical sites. I know you have St. Helena Hospital.
Yes.
And you probably utilize Queen of the Valley.
We use Queen of the Valley, St. Helena Hospital. We use the Kaiser system as well. And these students will be using these rural hospitals up there. And we have such incredible support with everything from the hospital system to even faculty support and clinical faculty training. I have identified someone within my faculty that is interested in being the assistant director. So we have released her workload to focus on just shepherding these rural areas, which I think is just an incredible mission, to be honest. I mean, if we look at the amount of students the local community colleges are able to produce and the need, I'm really excited that we can be a part of this. We did go out and meet with Mendocino Community College director and talked about strategies to ensure that we would not encroach on their sites or their time. And we've had a pretty amazing working relationship so far. We also talked about the history. We used to be in Ukiah before Mendocino College was there, and had a training site with Adventist Health. And when they were able to grow, we actually retreated back. And we've told them that, we're there to hopefully meet the need for the time that we need to be there. but we're very excited because we already have students from those rural areas that are excited to be able to do clinical in those areas. Where they
Great.
live.
I just have a comment. Thanks very much, Ms. Dunker. These enrollment increases can be challenging for the board members, and that we don't want to, disadvantage one program by allowing, increases in programs. So it really makes me happy to hear that you have, done some of the work for us and gone out and talked to your, partners to make sure that there's a more cooperative spirit than a competitive spirit for those positions. So I really want to thank you for that.
It's when I moved here 2 years ago to be the director, I was blown away with the area support that we have. The directors, even from Napa Valley College, Sonoma State, and the other areas, we just have a very collegial working relationship, and we're all in it together. And that's our goal. I'd never experienced that till I came to this specific area. And I just feel like it's the only way we're going to move things forward. So keeping in line with our ultimate mission, we're a not-for-profit Christian college. We need to make budget, and we're trying, it's expensive. It's more expensive than a community college, but, we're just trying to work together. And it's been neat because even things like faculty, sharing faculty, helping, just orientation and resources. We just can do so many things if we're working together. Suzanne and I have contacted, and it seems like it's going to be a real collegial event, hopefully.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from the committee?
One real quick question from me. How far do these students travel into campus for you guys, since we're kind of doing opposite? Typically, we see students that travel from the campus location to the clinical location, but what you're stating is that these students are located in that clinical area and they're traveling into campus. Mm-hmm. What is the typical travel time for that?
So if they're coming from Ukiah, it's about an hour and a half typically to come down. And they stay in the dorm though. They're not commuters. Most of them are up here in the dorm, and then they would be able to go home to the area. So it is an interesting idea to think about, but when we already identified that we have students wanting to do that, it gives them that opportunity to do that. Now they can commute. I mean, some of them, and then some of the hospitals, we don't have that many, but the few that we do have up in Fort Bragg and Willits, some of these, the stories are incredible. They have been trying to go to school. They've been trying to figure this out where they can be home with their, where they live, and just being able to offer this is just incredible. So they're a little bit further, and we are looking at ways to, if the roads are really squirrely up there. I don't know if you've ever been up there. Yeah. But if the roads get bad, we are working, and we do have it where the students can go to the hospital right where they live, and they have set up their conference rooms where they can actually beam them in live to their classes if needed, if that happens. So we've walked through contingency plans, especially in the wintertime, so that they stay safe, but yet they still are able to have synchronous education. I'm a real proponent for not being asynchronous with an ASN program, but we did it during COVID, and if they had to, we could make that happen with them. But they would go to the hospital site, to their education, conference room where they have satellite capability to do that, and that would be a contingency plan if the roads got bad during the winter. So I'm trying to mitigate things. You can't make it perfect, but I am trying to think about, these students and, helping them get rural education where we can't put a nursing school everywhere, but how can we already do this? I'll tell you at most of our students that come up to Angwin, I don't know if you've ever been up, we're North Napa Valley. They travel well over an hour, the majority of our students, to the campus and to clinical to get to the sites currently. because it's just, we're very rural as it is, other than St. Helena, which is right there.
Yeah, you're basically on the top of a mountain.
We are.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the committee members? I would like to make a motion as a committee member. I would like to recommend acceptance of the substantive changes requested by an approved program and approve the enrollment increase for Pacific Union College Associate Degree Nursing Program, Angwin Campus, with an enrollment pattern of what they have requested here. And the school has requested 48 students in the fall, winter, and spring quarters, increasing by 12 students each quarter, totaling 36 new students for an annual enrollment of 160 students at the Angwin campus.
I'll second that. When?
Trisha Nguyen.
Thanks.
Thank you. BRN moderator, could you take us to public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in the request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I would like to give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. And I'd like to vote yes. Committee member Dolores Trujillo,
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
committee member Trisha Nguyen,
When? Yes.
motion carries. Is Mary Ann still
I think she's muted.
I am talking away and I'm muted.
Okay.
So there you have it. You didn't get any of that, so I'm going to start over. 8.8.4, discussion and possible action regarding acceptance of a substantive change to an approved program, Shishai Crisp Institute Associate Degree Nursing Program, and this is a location change. So we've been doing some enrollment increases, but this one is a location change. And the information about this program is starting on page 26 of packet 2. And board moderator, if you could please elevate the presenters for SSKI. Okay, so SSKI has made a location change due to ongoing changes in the building that they previously occupied. And if you see their agenda item summary on page 26 through 28, they gave the report they sent in. It's actually our agenda item summary and the report they sent in. They talk about what has happened in that building over the past few years that has made it very difficult for them. They are located in Stanton, California, and the new site they moved to are 14 miles away at Orange, California. Both sites are in BRN Region 9. So again, the information is on page 26 through 28. On page 29, we have information related to the data for Region 9 in the past 5 years. And again, they're within the same region. They just moved because of the difficulties at the site that they had. The program representatives are here should you have any questions. Thank you.
I do want to draw attention to this. This is part of the substantive change request that's under 16 CCR 1432 that includes location changes. This is typically something that is supposed to be completed prior to this occurring. As you are able to see in the materials, this occurred and then we were notified. And so we are working with this academic institution to bring them into compliance, as this was a process that should have been done in advance. And so what the board would typically expect to occur in this situation is they would notify their NEC that they're having some issues at the location that they're currently at, and that they are planning to find a new location. Upon securing that new location, whether it be a purchase, a lease, anything like that, a build out would occur, and the NEC would do a visit to ensure that that new location has adequate resources. They're able to have the students go ahead and attend that campus. And if it was in a different area, this one here happened to be just 14 miles from the original location in the same region with the same community. That other area would actually be required to go through and have a community impact kind of evaluation, because you would have new faculty members that would probably live closer to that area. You'd have new clinical sites, etc. This one here, in alignment with what BPPE looks at, they look at a 25-mile radius. This one here is a 14-mile radius. And what we're doing at this point is working with them to ensure that this is kind of a catch-up, unfortunately, because this should have been done in advance of the move. But the NECs are going in after hearing about the move, after looking at it, after they've already occupied the space and already moved students. So this is not something that should have occurred this way. It is out of sequence, and I just wanted to make sure the members of the committee were aware of that.
Thank you, Lori. To the school, is there a reason why you did it out of sequence? Was there an urgency that you had to move to this building that we're not aware of? I understand the circumstances of why you moved. I guess I'm just trying to understand why.
Okay, can you hear us now?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, this is Judy Corliss, consultant here with SSKI. We notified Donna Schute, and she worked with us from the beginning. The building that they were in had a marijuana company move in, and everybody was out smoking in the hallways. They put a church in the backside, and they were holding church services. The classrooms were being remodeled and disturbed by all the rest of the building being remodeled. The kids couldn't even breathe when they would come in. We had students with asthma attacks having to go to the emergency room, etc. So they were right at the time when that was going on at a lease agreement that needed to be re-signed, but they didn't want to re-sign due to those factors. So we let Donna know, and we, in the new building that they purchased, we did not move in until Donna got emergency approval from the board staff, Lori Melby, to be able to do that. But in advance of that, so the board knows, Donna did a full walkthrough to make sure that our space here had everything that it needed. And in fact, we have three times the amount of space here to provide exactly what we were providing over the old space of 8,000 square foot. So we went through all the parameters with Donna, and she did a beautiful job helping us do all of that before we ever moved in to the space with her approval. So if she's on, she could explain to you the process and why emergency wise we had to get her approval in advance.
We can absolutely hear from Donna Schute. I do want to provide additional clarification. I said 25 miles for BPPE. It's actually 10 miles. So I apologize for that misinformation. And again, for further clarification, this was brought to the NEC's attention as well as my attention. And although the NEC and myself are not able to make the approval for this to move forward, it is a board approval requirement. what I was informed of was that the lease was terminated on the other area and there was no place for the students to go prior to a board meeting. And so it is up to the board members to approve these moves. And you guys are currently occupying a space that this hasn't been brought forward to the board. The board will hear this in November, where the board is expected to potentially approve or not approve the location. So just for clarification, the information that was presented to us was that the lease no longer existed in the current location and your students would be displaced if you guys did not move in advance of board approval. At that point, I offered the ability to still bring you guys forward to the board, but that is not following the standard of practice here because you guys are supposed to come in front of the board, get board approval prior to any movement. And so I just wanted to clarify that that's why that was made. Donna, you can explain more if you need to.
The program did purchase the new site prior to board notification. It was considered an emergency move, but they did not move students and they kept the lease, and they can talk to you too, until they had till they had the whole building completed and that I had approved. I had gone and saw that everything was in place. And so they did follow that part. It was not being able to notify us, and they should have notified us once there was an emergency need for a move. But this is in the AIS, and I think they also addressed this in their summary. But there were no students, there was no lapse in classes. They had everything in place and timed everything so that there would be continuity of instruction.
Thanks, Donna.
This is Tricia. I just have a comment. It's unfortunate that things like this happen from time to time where the process, kind of the regulations kind of get in the way of real life. It does seem to me that there's a lot of goodwill here, that they worked really hard to, come into compliance. They worked closely with Donna, and Donna, thank you very much for that detailed conversation. I'm ready to make a motion to recommend that we approve the request of the location change for SSKI Associate Degree Nursing Program.
Thank you, Tricia. Do we have a second?
Rita seconds.
BRN moderator, can we please open it up for public comment?
Thank you.
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for a comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. Committee member Dolores Trujillo.
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Committee member Tricia Nguyen.
Nguyen, yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Agenda item 8.8.5, discussion and possible action regarding acceptance of a substantive change to an approved nursing program This is Western University of Health Sciences. They have an entry-level master's degree nursing program, and they are requesting an enrollment increase. Information on this program can be found starting on page 36 of Packet 2. And board moderator, if you could please elevate the presenters on the list for Western University. So Western University is located in Pomona, California. Pomona is located along the eastern border of Los Angeles County. The program is requesting an enrollment increase of 30 students annually. So their current enrollment pattern is 70 students annually in the fall, and they're requesting to move to 100 students every fall, which is an increase of 30. The agenda item summary on page 36 has more details, and they are in Region 8, and Region 8 is on page 38, and it shows you everything that's happened in the past 5 years in this area. The program representatives are here and available for questions. Thank you.
Sorry, go ahead.
Region 8 is part of LA County, the larger region, but I do want to make sure that you guys are aware of where Pomona is, and that is located to the east, and it is a fairly rural kind of area location where this is at. But I will go ahead and bring up the map for you guys to see so that you guys can have a good look at this one here. So give me 1 second. Okay. And again, this is a map that was created that has not been vetted through the BRN yet. But I just want to point out right here that this is Pomona, right in this location. If you can see me kind of circling, it's right next to the 57. And although this is part of the greater LA area, you can see that is out in this kind of barren spot here in the middle. And you can see that there are some colleges that are in that area, and Western University of Health Sciences is located there as well.
So this is an area, of course, that there has been a lot of activity over the last 5 years and a lot of enrollment increases. And so the prevailing, question is always, if we approve a 30 student increase annually, does that affect the other, colleges and programs around there? And, I know that it's not an exact science, but I'm just wondering if you have some ideas on whether or not we will be, adversely affecting other programs if we approve something like this.
Yes, I believe that the program director is here on the line as well, if she wants to address some of those comments or questions, sorry.
Actually, it's Michael. Michael, can you hear us?
Sorry.
And thank you.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon. This is Program Director Michael Marinello. I'm on the line with my Dean, Dr. Mary Lopez, joining all of you. I wanted to first say, Loretta, thank you so much for acknowledging that we are not in the heart of LA County. We are on the eastern border, and it is somewhat rural. So to answer the direct question from Tricia regarding impact on other colleges and schools of nursing, with the reduction in clinical hour requirements, we've actually reduced our overall requirements in the program by 35%. And the goal behind that was not only to allow us to expand our program by 30 students, but also notify our clinical partners that if they can give those extra spots to other schools, we want to make sure that happens. And so as a proactive program director, one of the things that I do is if I don't need clinical spots prior to the semester starting, I will ensure that my clinical partners know. The first example I can give you is Riverside University Health Services outside of LA County. They grant us 30 clinical spots across all areas for our program, accepting psychiatric mental health. However, this semester, based on student location and where they choose to live in proximity to our university, it wasn't ideal for 30 of them to travel there. So we only placed 10 students there. And those 20 spots went back to the facility to use as they would like.
Thank you very much. That is very helpful to me. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you for the question.
And for clarification, the change in clinical hours came from passing our sunset bill this last year. It was implemented in January, and the schools are coming into compliance with the 500-hour direct patient care requirement, allowing them to have, anywhere up from close to 400 hours in simulation. So almost about a 50-50, as long as those simulation hours can meet the objectives of the clinical components that are outlined in the syllabi.
That is correct. So our revision to our curriculum, we previously had 1,400 hours because we are an entry-level master's program. A large portion of those are in the master's portion as our students complete and implement quality improvement projects in the clinical space. We have found ways to reduce those hours and reduce the impact on clinical partners. And we wanted to translate that into our program and decrease the clinical hour burden on the student.
All right. Any other questions or comments from the committee?
This is Jovita. It's just, it's hard just because it's I understand that it's in rural, but I commend him for actually giving back some spots for other schools to use. That's actually very noble. But what are the what do you think, Dolores and Tricia?
This is a entry-level master's degree program, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
The focus is different.
They're up in a more rural area.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a very substantial increase.
Additionally, just for clarification, I know Jovita said the focus is different. It is not. So no matter what the degree is that they complete in academic institution, whether it's an associate, bachelor's, or master's degree, the clinical component that the board oversees is the license requirement, which is Med-Surg, OB, Peds, Psych, Mental Health, and Jerry. It does not have any oversight over those other degree requirements that are not specifically listed within 1426. So regardless of what degree type, the licensing requirements are the same. So I want to make sure that our committee members as well as our public understands that the focus is Med-Surg, OB, Psych, Mental Health, and Jerry, and getting that clinical experience in so that they can qualify for licensure. And then once they do qualify for licensure, that they pass the NCLEX and they're a safe practitioner.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you for that clarification, Lori. I would agree with Dolores. It does seem like a modest increase. I am impressed that that this school is working closely with other people, and it does seem like there's some room to move eastward and not into existing programs in LA County. And for those reasons, I would be inclined to support this request.
I'm inclined to support it also.
One of you want to do the motion?
Sure, I'll move that we approve the enrollment increase for Western University of Health Sciences entry-level master's degree nursing program. The school has requested 100 students every fall, which is an increase of 30 students annually.
I will second. This is Dolores.
Thank you. BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, I would like to make a comment. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. Committee member Dolores Trujillo
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
and a committee member Trisha Nguyen.
Nguyen, yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to suggest we break for lunch. It's 12:30. We could come back. You think 30 minutes is enough, or what do the other committee members feel?
I like 30 minutes.
30?
I do too. Thank you.
30 minutes, so we'll come back at 1 o'clock.
Thank you.
We'll start out at that time with 8.8.6.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy your lunch.